Hey everyone, intuitive and astrologer Lisa Salvatore here to talk to you about the very beginning of July up until the new moon in Cancer that takes place on July 5th. First things first, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure that you hit the bell icon below so that you are notified of all new uploads. And also subscribe to my newsletter linked below in the description box. My newsletter goes through Substack, so you'll find most of my content over there. And if you'd like to be a part of the live forecasts, you have to subscribe to the newsletter. Live and recorded. Another thing, if you have not watched the reading for the full moon in Capricorn that took place on June 21st, dependent upon when you're actually watching this video, even if it's after, please go back and listen to that reading. It is filled with valuable information that carries us all the way through July because we have a second full moon in the sign of Capricorn later on this month on July 21st. And it all connects back to the summer solstice that occurred on June 20th, the entrance of the sun into the sign of Cancer, and also the full moon that immediately followed on June 21st. So you're going to want to go and listen to that because that connects to this new moon in Cancer, which then connects to the full moon in Capricorn. It's always all connected, but this particular portion of the year is very karmically strong, okay? Lots of karma. Being balanced, restored, recalibrated, and we're going to talk about why in a moment. Also, I have a very detailed video with a tutorial on how to pull up your birth chart in several different systems. Also, how to identify new moons and full moons by where they fall in your birth chart. That way, when I say, where does the new moon fall in your chart? Set intentions in that area of your life. Or where does the full moon fall in your chart? What could be going on in your reality or what could be illuminated for you? You'll have a deeper understanding of the spiritual symbolism of specific transits and how they impact you personally. I break this down into the fundamentals. I give you examples, transits. We go through the archetypes of each zodiac sign. We go through their symbols. We go through their planetary rulers, the planets, and detailed insights into the houses in astrology in the birth chart. That is also linked below in the description box. I think I also still have some private consultations open on my calendar. Again, everything's linked in the description box, or you can just go right to my website, lisasalvatore.com. You can also find my free tarot masterclass, my paid tarot masterclass, blog posts, and other things. All right, so let's talk about the beginning of July. Saturn stations retrograde on June 29th, and Saturn will be retrograde until November 15th. He stations at 3:06 p.m. Eastern Time at 19 degrees and 26 minutes of Pisces. So again, check your birth chart, check the part of your chart that contains Pisces, because that is where Saturn is transiting currently, and that is also where Saturn will station retrograde. Now, this is going to impact everybody, but it will impact the mutable signs the strongest, and which are Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini. And even more specifically, if you have any of your points and or placements between 12 and 19 degrees of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you will definitely be the most affected by Saturn's retrograde or will feel the stronger effects of Saturn retrograde, let's say. Because Saturn is going to go all the way back from 19 degrees of Pisces to 12 degrees of Pisces, and then he will station there direct in November. The thing about Saturn is the ruling planet of both Capricorn and Aquarius, and Saturn is all about lessons. Saturn is all about karma. He is the keeper of time. He does not let us get away with anything without some form of karmic implications. And karma is a wheel. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is what it is. I refer to Saturn as the misunderstood miser because Saturn is considered a malefic in astrology, so he's not necessarily the planet that comes in to throw blessings at you, at least not initially. But the wisdom, because that's a key word for Saturn, the wisdom that is attained when you go through Saturn transits, for example, or when you dig into your own personal Saturn placement in your birth chart, because Saturn is going to talk about where you are set to experience the most frustration, also the most karmic lessons in this lifetime. It's very deep. But as we begin to understand our Saturn, or at least understand it more deeply, there's a lot of spiritual wisdom there. And that is how we grow. And that is how we close out karmic cycles that are not serving us in this lifetime. It helps us to break patterns, especially when it has to do with ancestry, our ancestral lines. It's not a coincidence that Saturn is stationing retrograde during Cancer season because Cancer is all about the family, the roots, the lineage, the personal life, our emotional worlds, our inner well-being. The planet Saturn is all about responsibilities, duties, structure, discipline, and authority. So yes, he's a heavyweight. We can feel the gravity of Saturn. So while Saturn is retrograde, it is a really great time to go inward and reflect and to pay very close attention to the repetitive situations and or relationship challenges or just challenges within yourself that keep coming up for you, because that's karmic. Karma is repetitive, right? It's a wheel. It just keeps going until we either get off or get on a different wheel. But that's up to us. And again, that's going to be very personal for everybody according to your own birth chart. A lot of how Saturn operates is going to be subconscious as opposed to conscious. So the trick is with Saturn is that you have to look at every situation at a deeper level in order to truly release the karmic baggage that might be binding you, that might be holding you back, that might be limiting you or delaying you. That's another key word for Saturn. Delay, also limit. So look at Saturn as the cosmic auditor. He is the karmic operator with the calling cards. Comes calling for all of us. We all have karma. And Saturn also stationed retrograde in a sextile to Venus. Venus is the planet of connection. Saturn is the planet of commitment. So like I always say, connect to what you are committed to and then commit to what you are connected to. Let that be your mantra for this particular Saturn retrograde. And again, that's going to land differently for everyone. Saturn is also in Pisces, so this also can bring in questions of how can I better serve humanity? What do I do in my day-to-day life that contributes positively to humanity or for a higher purpose or for a higher cause? How am I serving the collective, if in any way? And it's an important reminder that relationships require more compassion, specifically and most importantly, your relationship to self, because Saturn can have us beating ourselves up mercilessly, going over the same thing over and over and over again on the hamster wheel, especially if you have strong Pisces or Virgo. You're going to really feel this. Positively speaking, there can be many breakthroughs. And again, don't expect this to be a super out-in-your-face energy. It very well can be, but it more likely will be that of the subconscious because it's very karmic. But it holds a lot of weight. Keyword for Saturn, weight. Saturn grinds on us until we get the lesson, or until we heed the lesson, because usually we already know when Saturn's involved. Like I always say with astrology, your astrology chart is the way you are hardwired to act out unconsciously, okay? It's an unconscious hardwiring. It takes work. First, we have to identify what might be holding us back, right? We have to consciously identify that, and we do that through the birth chart. We identify what is operating unconsciously. We bring that forth to our conscious awareness, and then we're able to transcend the karma. Then we're able to really work with it. It's not easy. But we've all got these beautiful strengths and frustrating weaknesses, challenges. We all do. Identifying them and really working with them, you have to train yourself. You have to consciously re-hardwire your unconscious. That's how it works karmically. Okay, so that is just like the very beginning of July. Saturn stations retrograde on June 29th. Then on July 2nd, Neptune will station retrograde at the critical or anaretic 29th degree. Neptune has been at the 29th degree since early May. Neptune is the planet of illusion and fantasy. It can also be the planet of deceit. Neptune also rules over pollutants, drugs, narcotics. It's our sea life. It's the ocean. Neptune is the god of the ocean, the god of the seas. Now, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news, but we've had much more shark activity than we have had in quite some time. The ocean is quite warm. It's getting warmer, which from what I was reading is causing the orcas to actually move closer, which is then forcing the sharks closer to the shore. Just one of the very many reasons. But anyway, I would think with Neptune now getting ready to station at that 29th degree, we're going to be hearing a lot more involving the ocean, involving aquatics, involving the sea life. But also because Saturn is now retrograde, expect to hear more in the worlds of medicine and, dare I say, infectious disease. These are receptive energies. So I just want you to pay closer attention to your physical health, to your physical body. Don't overdo it, especially if you're mutable. Gemini, Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, basically everyone. Just be more cautious because these two planets are retrograde. Neptune's at that 29th degree. There could be a resurgence of something. We could be hearing about more wet weather, more flooding, and more having to do with the ocean. Neptune will be retrograde until December. However, Neptune will be traveling at that critical 29th degree from July 2nd until September 3rd, I believe. And then he gets back to 28 degrees. So expect July and August to be more wet, receptive months, okay? We'll absolutely be hearing about things at the collective level, absolutely. But positively speaking, this could be good things involving the world of medicine as well. Doesn't have to be negative. It's just an increase in the activity. And then on July 5th, we get to our Cancer new moon. And we'll pull up the chart in a moment, but this new moon takes place at 14 degrees and 23 minutes of Cancer. And it takes place at 6:57 p.m. Eastern Time. And the Sabian symbol for the Cancer new moon is a group of people who have overeaten and enjoyed it. And this struck me as very significant for this time period because Cancer is the sign that talks about home, okay? It's our physical home, it's our family, it's our emotional home and family and foundation. And like I said, it's our inner world. It's very personal. So at this time of year, we want to be more satisfied, okay? We want to feel more cozy. And we can definitely feel much more sensitive because we're all Cancers under Cancer season, right? Energetically speaking. But more than that, it's because Saturn just stationed retrograde at this point in a sextile to the planet Venus, which again emphasizes commitment and connection. So satiety in our relationships is very important, and specifically our relationship to self. Are we satisfied? Can we be doing better? Can we be doing more for ourselves and or for others? Are we giving too much? Is there an imbalance? Because again, this is a very personal new moon and a personal time of year. So a lot could be coming up by way of our relationships at this time, personal and professional, and especially the balancing act between the two. How they make us feel, how they really are, how we desire them to be, actions that we may have to take to go in that direction. It's all coming up to the table. Very strong energies the beginning of July, leading up to this new moon, in relation to our satisfaction with our emotional foundation, with our relationships, with our home. So yes, tensions will absolutely be mounting, but there's a lot of positivity as we bust through the tension. We're busting through barriers, but it's really important to try and keep our emotions in check. What is being revealed to you and for you? Whom and what are testing your patience? Pay attention to the triggers, karma. So this is an action-orientated time, okay? This is an action-orientated new moon. However, it can feel a little difficult. It's not always going to be smooth sailing, but there will likely be positive movement forward for you. And even more specifically, you may experience it by where this Cancer new moon is going to fall for you in your birth chart, in your life. The tarot cards for Cancer, we have the Chariot. The Chariot rules over the sign of Cancer. And the thing about the Chariot is that the charioteer is in control of the sphinxes here. Think of this as the opposing energies, right? The opposing sides of ourselves, the duality within all of us. And I actually think of this card as the charioteer being this new moon in Cancer, and then each sphinx represents the two Capricorn full moons that we have. We had one on June 21st at 1 degree, and then we have a second one on July 21st, exactly 1 month later, at the 29th degree. This is beginning and endings, and this new moon nestled right between. There's this controlled force that's guiding us forward, that's trying to get us to see something, trying to reveal something to us to move us more authentically on our path. And in some cases, we might be avoiding it, but yet deep down we know. So it's a reminder to just stay in control, keep everything in check, and know that there will be victory by way of recognition. Cancer also rules over the Three of Cups. This is a card of abundance. This is a card of celebration. This is a card of emotional collaboration, okay? Emotional satisfaction, coming together. Coming together. But sometimes three's a crowd, right? Again, depends on your situation. So yes, emotional and positively charged towards forward motion. Controlled forward motion. With some tension along the way. But isn't there always? It's never smooth sailing. Now let's get to the chart. Here we see our Cancer new moon takes place July 5th. 6:57 p.m. Eastern Time. Right here, we've got the sun and the moon exactly conjunct at 14 degrees and 23 minutes of Cancer. Now let's go with the challenging aspects first. Here we see the south node at 10 degrees of Libra, directly opposite the north node at 10 degrees of Aries, okay? The nodes are not planets, they are calculated points in space, okay? Calculations of the moon. But these calculations are extremely significant because they talk about destiny. The south node is going to talk about the past. The north node is going to talk about the future. And so the nodes are at 10 degrees and this new moon's at 14. So the south node is in a square to this new moon and the north node is also in a square to this new moon. That's a T-square configuration of tension. That is saying that we want to take action, we want to move forward, but something might be holding us back, or we just can't do it quite yet. It could be of an emotional nature, it could be due to a family situation. But either way, we're kind of feeling held in place. There's some tension here, but we know that we need to let go somewhere to grow. We might have some resistance toward it. So this could also be the resistance coming from within you because it is Cancer, so it's personal. So we've got the nodes here squaring the sun and moon. Then we also have Sirius over here, retrograde at 14 degrees of Capricorn in an exact opposition to this new moon. And Sirius is also in a square to the nodes. So we've got Sirius squaring the south node, and Sirius is also squaring the north node. So this is a T-square configuration. More tension. Fun. But I also feel that collectively speaking, this could be talking about the weather patterns, because don't forget, Neptune is now traveling retrograde at that 29th degree of Pisces. Saturn's now retrograde at 19 degrees of Pisces, and Saturn is in a trine to this new moon, which is a supportive aspect. However, it is still water. It's receptive, it flows. So again, flooding, things of that nature, hopefully not, but there could just be some tension here on the world scale. And Sirius being retrograde in Capricorn, it may or may not affect import-export with food. It could have something to do with the crops, farming. There's some tension here, okay? Specifically in Europe, which they've already been having, but it might be really ramped up around this time. I've been saying it for months. Try and grow your own food, even if it's very minimal, even if it's just one pot of fresh herbs or whatever you use a lot of. Try and do what you can to sustain, because Sirius is all about sustenance, right? To sustain yourself. It's not going to hurt. I just got a tower garden and I am obsessed with it. In fact, I will link down below in the description box 2 videos that I have of my tower garden when I first got it, and then what it looks like now. It's awesome. Easy to take care of. You can do it indoors if you want to. You can even do it in your garage or in an inside area of your home or apartment. I have mine out on my patio. But anyway, I will link that below. But you don't have to get a tower garden. This is just about growing for yourself, caring for yourself in a different way. So we see there's some tension here, okay? So personally speaking, it's going to bring up emotional situations for you, things that you might want to release, but you can't quite do that yet. Family tensions can be mounting, or just tensions in relationship in general. Again, because there's karmic breaks that are occurring to get us off the wheel. Then we have Juno up here at 19 degrees of Virgo in exact opposition to Saturn retrograde at 19 degrees of Pisces. So again, I think this is going to strongly affect our mutables, Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Virgo, but it will have an effect on everybody and on relationships in general, because Juno speaks to the marriage partner or the partner, the spouse. It also speaks to issues surrounding betrayal in relationships, partnerships in general. So make sure you ask yourself, is what I am doing, or is this relationship truly aligned with where I am today and with who I am today? Strong reflection around these times. And also, how do I show up in relationship? We also have Chiron here at 23 degrees of Aries, conjunct Eris at 25 degrees of Aries. And this Chiron-Eris conjunction is squaring Venus. Venus, which is all about what we love. It's about connection. It's about pleasure. It's about money also. So something might come up for you in regards to a relationship or a connection that is a reminder of where you might feel left out, or where somebody else might feel left out, and they may come to you with this and it could feel very emotional, maybe even a little over emotional. We also have Mars at 19 Taurus building up to a conjunction with Uranus at 25 degrees of Taurus. It's already operational, and these two coming together are pure force, jolts of energy. Erratic behaviors and or outbursts are possible. Irritations are mounting. So this is just fueling the fire, fueling the backdrop of this new moon energy and the next couple of weeks. Really important to pay very close attention, or more attention, I should say, to be more conscious of the way you move about the world, the way you move around out and about in the world, your everyday. And if you want to go one step further, you can actually look to where Mars falls in your birth chart, because that will tell you where you're more likely to suffer more injuries, okay? Just a little sidebar. You don't have to do that, but when Mars and Uranus are coming together like this, I always like to tell you, extra consciousness, okay? You must be extra conscious and cautious of your movements and your actions, especially when you're operating machinery like driving, cutting vegetables, whatever, because if there's a time for unexpected accidents, Mars, Uranus coming together can just really build that up. But again, forewarned is forearmed. But you will likely notice an increase of anger and irritability within the collective. And the more fixed you are, the more you will feel that. Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. Now let's talk about the beauty of this new moon. Because remember, the moon is at home in the sign of Cancer. The moon rules the sign of Cancer, and it is very cozy when the moon comes back to the sign of Cancer. So we have that going for us. That's in our favor, even with any tensions that are present. We have Venus here at 22 degrees of Cancer in a wide trine to Neptune. It's wide, but I'm going to count it because it's sweet, it's intuitive, it's creative, it's compassionate. We also have Jupiter over here at 9 degrees of Gemini, separating from a trine with Pluto. It's 8 degrees apart, but I'm still going to count it because it's positive and it's still operational, but they're separating. And we also have Pallas Athene up here at 19 degrees of Scorpio, and Pallas is in an exact trine to Saturn retrograde here at 19 degrees of Pisces. So Pallas talks about strategy and wisdom. She's our intuitive energies. She's connected to our third eye. And again, this is a Cancer new moon, water. The moon is our intuition. So intuition is very increased around this time. So remember, intuition leads the way, and tap into your body wisdom. How does this make me feel? Pay attention to that because your body will be talking to you, your intuitive body. Then we have Uranus over here at 25 degrees of Taurus in a sextile to Venus over here at 22 of Cancer, which is supportive for relationships, and it's supportive for doing things a different way. You could be meeting somebody out of nowhere that really enhances or impacts your life in a positive way. They come out of nowhere. You could be going outside of the normal confines of the way that you think in order to bring forth more constructive solutions. So Uranus sextile Venus can just be really nice on the personal level. I also feel that this contributes to wet weather because Uranus is also in a sextile to Neptune. And what else is really lovely around this new moon is that we've got Mars, the divine masculine, in a supportive aspect to Venus, the divine feminine. Mars sextile Venus. That's a really lovely blend and merge of energy, especially when it comes to relationships. So yes, there could be challenges, but equally we could be smoothing things over. And through those challenges, coming out stronger. Spiritual wisdom. Saturn retrograde. Last but not least, we've got fixed star Sirius exactly conjunct this new moon. Now, Sirius is one of the brightest stars in our night sky. And if you're familiar with the constellations, Sirius sits right near Orion's belt. Sirius is associated with the Lionsgate portal, 8-8. So technically the Lionsgate is open from July 27th, 28th through August 12th, I believe, but it peaks on August 8th. The reason I'm bringing this up is because Sirius is the star, literally the star, associated with Lionsgate and is auspicious and fortunate. But more than that, Sirius was associated with the Egyptians and the flooding of the Nile River, which the Egyptians looked forward to every year. And by the rise of the star Sirius, they knew that the floods were coming. So the reappearance of Sirius in the night sky was extremely important to the Egyptians because they knew that the Nile River would soon begin to flood, which brings the water and the rich soil to the dry land. So again, all about fertility and abundance. So Sirius is associated with fertility and abundance, and especially when it's aligned with a new moon in Cancer. Cancer is the sign of the mother of fertility, of abundance. It could be literal fertility, or it could be fertility pertaining to crops. It's the new soil, both metaphorically and literally speaking. This time period is ripe with spiritual growth. It's an auspicious time for spiritual practices and connecting more to self. Start now, because it will only increase as we move toward the Lionsgate portal. I'm not really big on portals, okay? Like when people say, oh, 8-8 or 6-6, it kind of annoys me, I'm not gonna lie. And the reason why is because there's always a much deeper spiritual story as to that portal of energy. So it doesn't mean that it's not real or that it's not the Lionsgate portal, because it is, but it's so much deeper than just that one day of 8-8. Now, the thing is, if you are a highly sensitive being, highly intuitive, and have the ability to connect beyond this dimension, okay, which I do, and I honestly believe that we all do, you're going to find that that will be enhanced around this time. Again, spiritual growth, think of it that way. Now, new moons are always about setting intentions. It's about the new. And this is a Cancer new moon, which brings in even more of that energy of the new, of fertility, of abundance, of what do I want to birth. It can be literal for some of you, if you're trying to get pregnant, trying to have a baby, or it could be metaphorical. It could be both. But what do I want to give more life to in my life? And more lights, okay? Sirius. New moon conjunct Sirius. More lights. What lights me up? I love fixed star Sirius. I always track her. I love looking up at her in the night sky. She's not visible all year long, by the way. If you have an app like Stargazer or Starwalk is a good one, you can hold it up and it will actually show you the constellation. It's really cool. But Sirius is also known as the dog star because she falls, I don't know if she's a she, but Sirius falls in the constellation of the dog, Canis Major, the great dog, and it's very close to Orion's belts. From the mid-northern latitudes, such as most of the US, Sirius rises in the southeast, she arcs across the southern sky, and then she sets in the southwest. Now from the southern hemisphere, Sirius arcs high overhead and is associated with the yearly flooding of the Nile River, like I mentioned earlier. But also because Ceres is retrograde, okay? And we've got Sirius conjunct the new moon. Again, this is bringing even more energy and attention onto crops, grains, and agriculture. Also weather conditions that could be precipitating, no pun intended, more droughts or oversaturation. So this is not a coincidence the way the energy lands at the given times that we talk about them. Now, in the northern hemisphere, late summer, Sirius is visible in the east in the pre-dawn hours. In early August, she begins to rise earlier and earlier each day until she appears in the evening sky in December. Okay? I just really like the energy of Sirius conjunct the new moon for us personally. It's about where we shine the brightest in our own lives and how we connect to self and nourish the self, nurture the soul, and making way for new soil. Fertility. That is really the strongest message of this new moon, even with the challenging aspects. Because remember, if it doesn't challenge us, it will not change us. Nothing grows in comfort zones except complacency. And Cancer wants to be comfortable. It wants to be cozy. It doesn't want to disrupt the status quo necessarily. But Cancer energy will take action when it's for the greater good and when it's come to a point where the tension needs to break. And that is the point we are getting at, and we are closer and closer to it around this new moon. So tensions are absolutely going to be breaking as well. July is going to be an emotional month on all fronts, okay? So ride the waves, do not let them crash over your head, or at least try to not let them crash over your head. Learn to surf energetically, emotionally, and maybe physically if that's your thing. Although with the recent increase in shark activity, I might not want to do that. Again, the ocean, Neptune. Going back to Neptune retrograde, something else that I want to mention. Personally speaking, this could help to wake us up, and this is a good thing. This can help to wake us up to the reality of a situation or a relationship. It can really help us to see the truth. Not the truth as we want to see it, but the actual truth. So it's like the rose-colored glasses can really come off. So Neptune retrograde has the potential to be very beneficial for us personally, especially if you have strong water, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Again, new moons are always a time for reflection and for intention setting. I would absolutely work with this one. Again, you're going to want to follow your rising sign for most accuracy, but also check your birth chart, okay? To make sure by the precise calculation of where this new moon will fall for you. If you're Aries rising, it's your 4th house. If you're Taurus rising, it will be your 3rd. Gemini, your 2nd. Cancer, your 1st. Leo, your 12th. Virgo, your 11th. Libra, your 10th. Scorpio, your 9th, Sagittarius, your 8th, Capricorn, your 7th, Aquarius, your 6th, and Pisces, your 5th. You can also follow your sun sign if you want to, but the rising sign is going to be more accurate for you. If you want to know what those houses mean in greater detail, be sure to check out that video below in the description box. Okay, I think that we've got enough here. A lot of information. If you appreciate this content, please subscribe to my newsletter. I have 2 options. The upgraded option gives you the access to the weekly forecast where I go into much greater detail and we have conscious conversations. Love to have you. Again, check that out. The link is in the description box below. lisasalvatore.com. Take really good care of yourselves. Take care of yourself emotionally. Take care of yourself physically. And most important, take care of yourself spiritually. Give yourself grace, space, and compassion where necessary. And remember that we are all in this lifetime together and we are all doing the best that we can. Take care.